There's a crackle on the radio, a story to be told about banjos on the hillside and voices paved in gold. Got a cold glass bottle, drop some peanuts in the coat, and I'm sitting on the front porch hanging on every note. The Front Porch Podcast, singing times gone by, with fiddle strings and heartache and the reasons why. We keep this music living, never let it fade so fast. Raise a toast to the legends on the Front Porch Podcast.
Oh, I'm just jamming to the tunes. Howdy, everybody. How you doing? This is your old pal, Kevin. This is the Country Music Time Machine, and this is a little live podcast we call the Front Porch Podcast. I'm here on the front porch today. 95 degrees, feels like 100 in Middle Tennessee. I don't know where you're at, but I hope it's cooler. I hope it's not hotter. But we do have the Coke and Peanuts, as the song said, right here in my hand. And I'm not sure if that'll last me the whole show today, because I'm probably going to be drinking a lot of that, and also have my CMTM water bottle here. So I'm going to be drinking lots of fluids. And I actually have a fan here that I bought from Walmart. It's a fan where you put ice packs in it. I put the ice packs in it. It's running. I think I paid $20 for it. I'll let you know if it's worth it. So if you see that $20 little round fan for ice packs in Walmart, I will give it a review by the end of this show. So good evening, everybody. No matter where you're at, whether you're here in the Middle Tennessee area, on the East Coast, West Coast, Canada, Honduras, Central America, South America, we've got folks always tuned in from Israel, Germany, England, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, all over the place, tuned in to the Front Porch Podcast. And boy, I just love having you here. Last week I wasn't here because, well, I sort of was here, but I was on top of the front porch. I was working on the roof, and I'll give you more stories about that in just a little bit. And right now, as we always do, you must chime in. We take the roll call. I want to know who you are and where you are from, whether it's your first time tuning in or your 30th time. We want to know who you are, and the new folks want to know who you are too. So go ahead and chime in. Let me find out who has chimed in so far. We've got the one, the only DDRR, Wisconsin in the house and waiting. Well, your wait is over, DDRR. Maria Brown, New Jersey in the house, as she always is, up in Jersey. Who else we got? We always have William May over there in Tar Heel Country in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Jeff's Guitars, the Guitar Maestro. Hello, all New England coasts. Nice day today. Jeff, I guess that means it's not as hot as it is in Tennessee. I hope it's cool there. I really do. We got Julian Santagita. I wonder what the future is like for country music. I'm glad you said that. Julian, if my memory is correct, is up in Canada. And our topic for today is the future, and it's two parts to the future. A little bit about the future of country music and the future of this channel. I'm going to give you some shocking news. It's going to possibly blow you away. It might make you cry. It might make you happy. I don't know. But you got to stand by for it, because I debated about whether I would do this for a long time, and I even talked to J-Cat about it, and J-Cat gave me his input, and I'm going in a direction that's I didn't expect I would go in, but I'll tell you about when we get to it. Let's bring up another comment. We got Katie. Hey, y'all, from the beach somewhere watching the birds and sunset. Well, at least Katie, she's probably on a hot beach, but she's got some nice, hopefully cool. Would that be Gulf of Mexico water or Gulf of America water or Atlantic Ocean, maybe Pacific Ocean? I hung on a lot right around the Caribbean as well. But thank you, Katie. We've got our own historian, our country music time machine historian, Joshua John. He's up in upstate New York. Maria chimed in again and said, it's still hot as hell here in New Jersey. I'm really ready for fall and colder weather. I am too. It's It's been a hot summer in Tennessee, and I'm ready. I'm ready for fall. And William May says, God bless Israel. I feel the way you feel, William. God bless Israel. We got Corey Beaver, who's tuned in all the time from Tulare, California, checking in while waiting to pick up a load of ice cream. Well, at least maybe in the back of Corey's truck, it's cool. But I think y'all need to find, you folks in California need to find Corey and get his ice cream because we need it. We need it so bad right now. We got Rita Harris. Good evening, Kevin. Hope you had a good day. I don't think it's 95 here today. I hope you are around for a while yet. Rita from New Jersey. So, yeah. Find out if I'm going to be around for a while or not. The big country music time machine news is going to be coming up after the big star country music news, of course, and the bigger star, the comments on this channel, because you guys are bigger than me. Because you guys make it all possible. And Katie says, Bahamas watching the hurricane. I think this is the first time that they have claimed to be from watching from the Bahamas. That is cool. That's a cool place to be. I've never been to the Bahamas. I worked and lived in Belize on the beautiful Caribbean coast down there. And what other ocean city have I worked in? I worked in Mauritius, which is off the coast of Africa, and Madagascar. That's the Indian Ocean. Totally beautiful around there. Just a beautiful place. And the only other ocean, well, I was in Peru. Peru is a beautiful country, but ocean, I don't know, not the most wonderful ocean. It's cold Pacific water. And Nicaragua, I was stationed there too. Also, not as cold Pacific water, but not great beach stuff there. I see a shocking comment from P. Smith. I wish you hadn't gotten political. Well, I say God bless all the countries. Israel, everywhere. God bless them, Not trying to be too political. P, please forgive me. But William said it. I thought I'd repeat it. And for us who do believe in the man upstairs, we need all the help we can get. All of us, because none of us are perfect. None of us are good. And we always have things to deal with, no matter where we are, what political beliefs we have. I hope we can come together and love each other a little bit more, because that ain't what's going on in the world right now. And that, as a fellow who worked overseas for 23 years for a political organization, well, you can call the State Department political because we had to, do the stuff of the President of the United States as he told us to do, no matter what it was. So, yeah, I got tired of the political fighting. And they still fight. That's politicians for you. All right, it's time to bring up on the stage here now the Country Music Time Machine News Update. And if you're still out there, while I now take another sip of Coke, please chime in, let me know where you're from. Drink your Coke and peanuts. That would be great. Take out a big shout out to the Country Music Time Machine Community Members of the Week. Some familiar, some I've never heard of before. We've got Corey Beaver, who we just heard from, who's loading up a load of ice cream in California right now in his truck. And he's on the list. Stephen Atkinson, also P. Smith, who just chimed in too and got upset with me about the political direction of this show. It's all right, Big. Love you anyway, man. And we got, what is that? Stebby123. I don't know what AI or algorithm is used in this. I was surprised not to see DDRR here, because DDRR, I was watching the channel all week and it was just, DDRR was watching everything and keeping me straight. And I appreciate that. Here's a picture on the screen of what I was doing most of the week. Now, I may get into a little bit of this later. The regular viewers know this, but I worked for the U.S. government for decades. And officially, I really still do, but I'm not really working because I took an early opt-out, early before retirement opt-out. But we have a class this month about basically retirement planning, job search, and all that kind of stuff. And so that took up most of my time. And we talked a lot about things like AI and how if you're applying for a job nowadays, if you apply for a job along with 1,000 other people, a human will not even see your application or resume until the AI decides it's what they want to see. So even in job search, what did Arnold Schwarzenegger call it? Skynet. Skynet is watching you, even in job searches. You got to get by the AI, and that just I'm becoming to hate the AI. I think. An update on injuries at the Country Music Time Machine headquarters. We've had a bunch of them this week. You see on the screen there, that's Mama. Mama's always got her walker, but now Gracie has it's a knee roller, knee stroller, knee walker, because Gracie was in the chicken coop run this week, and she was walking on the ground with her Crocs. And Crocs aren't the greatest in the world to be walking on the ground with. And, a embedded tree stump that I didn't clear out from underneath the ground, she stepped on it and it went up into her foot. So she's hobbled around. And I also have two conditions. I have this condition, see it on the screen here. This is a golf little farm injury. I don't know, because I started feeling it after I got off the golf course. And then I started feeling it worse when I was working around the yards and the woods over here. Think I got tendonitis or something. But the weirdest thing happened to me this week. And for those of you who do believe in the man upstairs, please pray, because I cannot hear out of this ear. This ear just turned off this week. I went to the doctor, and it's hard to talk. And when I listen to myself now talking, I sound weird, which I probably sound weird all the time. Anyway, the doc gave me some medicine on Wednesday. He says, come back Friday if you can't hear again. I came back Friday. They shot me up with steroids, so I'm ready to hit a home run like Barry Bonds now. But so far, I can't hear out of my right ear. I'll probably have to go to an ENT to try to figure out what's going on. I don't know. It's a weird deal, but it's not fun. It's pressure, not a lot of pain, but I just can't hear out of my right ear, and it's causes issues. So I hope that gets better. And think of me if you talk to the man upstairs, and think of Gracie too, because she's hobbling around on one foot. All right, this is a preview of what I'm going to be talking about a little bit later. In government, U.S. government, other governments, they always talk about transparency. Based on my experience with the U.S. government, even though I love them and it was an honor to work for the U.S. government as long as I was, there are many aspects of the U.S. government, no matter what president you are, that we're not transparent. I'm going to be transparent with you today. I'm going to give you some stats on this channel about viewers, subscribers, followers over there on Facebook, where a lot of folks are watching right now as well, and on YouTube and TikTok and X, Instagram. And some things will shock you, but I've decided, like I was saying, me and JCat were talking about this, and I said, JCat, I just think I'm going to be honest. I got to explain what's going on in my life and what's happening. And this little slide here says, how much have record companies earned from the Country Music Time Machine? And I'm going to bring up just two, social media sites that we're on, Facebook and YouTube. And right now I've got the word a lot. It may shock you just how much money they are making. I do pray that, some of the poorer folks like the songwriters and musicians actually get some of that money. I don't know if they do or not, but we're going to talk about that. And that's going to be our move into the future. All right. I'm going to expand the screen on my screen. It makes a difference to you. I just need to see it bigger on my screen. Talk about some of the comments of the week, and a lot of comments from the Truck Songs in Country Music History episode we released a couple of weeks ago. A lot of views over there on that too. We've got Tesh Valley Railroad. He says, he or she, I'm not sure, please excuse me. As a 29-year-old GM employee, I had to sneak into Ford in Dearborn when Alan Jackson held a concert there. One of the all-time greats. Daddy Gene was on stage with Alan, as was his mother. Imagine, this person worked for GM, snuck into Ford to see Alan Jackson sing. That is badass, as they say. That's country outlaw. Way to go, Tesh. That's a good story. And that's why I like this channel because y'all give me such good stories. And that brought up another comment. Cletus Snow says Alan Jackson's Neon Rainbow mentions a Dodge truck. Alan is a Ford guy, but I guess Neon Rainbow was a longer time ago, and there was a mention of a Dodge truck in that song. I had to go back and look at the lyrics again just to make sure, because it's on my playlist, but I've got like 3,000 country songs on my playlist. So I had to make sure, and yes, it does mention Dodge trucks. So even though Alan's a Ford man, he sang about Dodge before too. All right, another comment from Truck Songs. This comes from CBHW7IU. He says, BJ and the Bear. He loved that show and theme song. And you know, when I was making this first episode, I was actually thinking about that. I don't know if you remember BJ and the Bear. Bear wasn't a bear. I think BJ was a monkey, right? Wasn't BJ a monkey? Or am I thinking about the Clint Eastwood movie? I think it was a monkey. It was a great show back in the day. And I think on episode 2, when I feel better and I can start recording some more episodes, I'm going to talk about BJ and the Bear, because BJ and the Bear was a cool show. Next up, I got a comment from Taboot67. Convoy, Eastbound and Down are in my heart. 2 great truck songs. There's no doubt about that. And Corey Beaver will probably agree with that one because he's in a truck right now. Yeah, Eastbound and Down. I love the Jerry Reed song. That's often played on my playlist, even when I'm just on that 3-point turn lawnmower in the yard. I think I'm eastbound and down. Fred Robinson said, I drove an 18-wheeler for almost 34 years. In the last 26 years with Kroger out of Irving and Keller, Texas, watching and listening from Quinlan, Texas. Fred, thank you so much. And I always say, we always should salute our military personnel because I love them. They keep us safe. And our first responders, police, firemen, EMTs, paramedics, doctors as well. Maybe they'll fix my ear eventually. But we also should salute our truckers, because could you imagine if all truckers said, I'm not going to work today? Your life would be in bad shape. So I always salute truckers. And that's why I'm so happy to do this series about truck songs in country music history. All right, getting away from truck songs a little bit, I'm going to take a look over at the screen here. Katie says, I do too, and try to be non-political. Corey Beaver says, take the wheel. Jeremy Goodwin says, I like winter better than summer because I can always put clothes, but I would go to jail if I had to take them all off. It's so true. And my story, Jeremy, related to that, the coldest place I worked in was Russia. And it was always cold in Russia. 2 months of the year it wasn't cold. But I had to walk to work every day for 3 years in Moscow. I had to do a TDY, that's a temporary duty for you civilians, to Yekaterinburg, Russia. And one day I went to work there, again, walking a mile. It was 40 degrees below zero. And a lot of people say, you're freaking crazy, Kevin. But what Jeremy is saying is true. If you just put clothes on and move, the cold really never really bothered me, you know. All right, 1947 was smoking. I did a little YouTube short about the Tex Williams song, Smoke, Smoke, Smoke That Cigarette. The comment says, thankfully, our education has come a long way since then. It'd be a cute song. Well, if you listen to the words of Smoke, Smoke, Smoke That Cigarette, a man, Tex Williams, who something belong in the Country Music Hall of Fame, it's really a anti-cigarette song. Because just, if you get a chance, watch it. Listen to the song. That's why Country Music Time Machine is here, because folks are listening to a lot of new country music today that sounds strange to my ears, but they need to be listening to the old stuff as well. Now, I knew when I released this YouTube short, and it got on Instagram and Facebook too, that it would cause a fuss, and Stuart Fenton took exception to it. Hank Williams, the first rock and roll song, Move It On Over. Do you think it's the first rock and roll song? I think Hank Williams Jr. was the first person I remember mentioned that made me think about it. Well, he goes on to say why he doesn't think it is, but he says, Move It On Over is an updated country boogie. No more, no less, none the worse for that. It's not rock and roll, whether or not Rockin' Around the Clock was inspired by it. Not rock and roll, subject closed. Well, I don't think that Stewart is the expert on rock and roll and country, because I'm not the expert on rock and roll and probably not the expert on country music either, but the subject is not closed because according to Ron Fish, he says, I'll agree. It was the first rock and roll song. And Jamore9 says, if it wasn't the first, it was one of the first. And one of the big influences for rock. Listen to Rock Around the Clock. You can sing the lyrics to Move It On Over as the music. That would have happened today. Maybe Hank Williams would have sued Bill Haley in the comments. I don't know, because it is almost the same thing. All right, let's talk about one of my neighbors up the road in Franklin, Tennessee, Carrie Underwood. Carrie is having a tough time. Poor Carrie. On her 400-acre beautiful spread in Franklin, Tennessee, farm life allegedly taking a toll on the country star. I don't think she's come out and said what's happening here, but I think possibly with not enough employees on the ground, her and her husband are having to do more farm work. It could have something to do with the immigration enforcement that has happened here recently. I'm not sure. But as a boy who grew up on a farm, one reason I didn't continue working on the farm was, I wanted to make more money, and I love the farm. And funny, I've just left the U.S. government, sort of came back to the farm. But it wasn't a lot of money to be made. And if you do find cheap labor, especially some of those cheap labor, immigrant labor, why would others, Americans, want to do work like that? Well, I'm not saying there aren't farmers. There are farms. There are farmers. We love them. We bless them. And they're important for our thing. But a lot of these rich folks are paying low salaries to get employees. So all I can say, Carrie, love your music. I'm a big fan, but show them the money. Pay somebody, legal or illegal, enough money to make them want to work for you. Until then, you're going to be like me. You're going to be out in the chicken run, in the chicken coop, out in the yard, out in the garden, out in the woods. So hopefully you can find some good employees. Now, I've got a good slide here I want to talk to you about. It still blows my mind. This was from TikTok, talking about Gene Watson. And if y'all know Gene Watson's country legend, incredible, beautiful voice. And I guess it went viral on TikTok because some of these young kids just couldn't believe what they were hearing. What do you mean you can't believe what they're hearing? Gene Watson has been around for decades. Maybe the radio stations aren't playing him anymore, but, you can still find his music. One comment says, such a legend, I will never tire of hearing him sing. Such a voice, long past worthy of Country Music Hall of Fame consideration, and does not need auto-tune. Oh, yes. There's a difference. Any music recorded, I know, before, let's say, mid to late 2000s, didn't use auto-tune, even though auto-tune started to get used in concert situations in the late 90s. So, yeah, when you're hearing the old stuff, you're hearing real stuff. You're not hearing AI. You're not hearing auto-tune. It was the real stuff. Let's pick up this video, and this is from TikTok of the wonderful Gene Watson.
And my friends gather around for my farewell party. Won't you pretend you love me? There'll be fireworks from those who cry when I go.
Gene there is getting up in age, but he's still got the voice. And Farewell Party, one of the greatest country songs ever. I'm glad to hear that Gene is still trucking along, and some folks are starting to notice him over on TikTok. Another bit of good news. I'm sorry if I get political here, but I don't care what president would have made this decision. It was a great and no duh decision. Texas legend George Strait named Kennedy Center honoree, of course, alongside Kiss and Gloria Gaynor. The peanuts are not going down right. So let me take a sip of water here, and I'm going to tell you what I think about George Strait in the Kennedy Center. Come on, people. Why has it taken so long for the Kennedy Center to honor a country legend like George Strait? George Strait is not only a music legend, he's a country legend of all time. No pop star, no pop band, no rock vocalist has ever had as many number one hits as George Strait. 60 number one hits up until I think 2012, 2013. Why in the name of God would he have not been on the Kennedy Center? Because the idea of the Kennedy Center is to honor the greatest Americans in different walks of life, art, and all that stuff. Well, I'm glad they finally did, and he deserves it. And I'm sure Kiss deserves it, and Gloria Gaynor deserves it too. But when you compare George Strait to Kiss and Gloria Gaynor, the impact is 100 times more with George Strait. So a big kudos to the Kennedy Center. And, you know, I guess, did Trump take over the Kennedy Center? I guess he's taken over a lot of things now. So I don't know if he decided that or he has no idea who George Strait is. Maybe he does. I don't know. DDR says, love that George Strait got the award. I do too. And he says, because of politics. Sorry. Well, when you have 60 number one hits and so many more that didn't make the number one, it should not be political. It should be logic. Whoever was running the Kennedy Center in the last, let's say, 10 to 15 years were apparently brain dead because George Strait deserved it a long time ago. I have the hopping Gracie coming out here. I'm going to bring up my camera here. See Gracie? She's hopping on one leg. She's telling everybody that the rooster attacked her, but that's not the real story. So you going to tell them how it happened, Gracie?
Okay, so basically I wake up at 5:45 in the morning to wake up my chickens and get them out of their coop, and I have a black cat. I have a really big black cat, and he's very sweet, but he followed me to the coop, and he kind of like stayed at a distance in front of the coop, and so when I got the rooster and all the chicks out, my gosh, the rooster started freaking out, flying everywhere, freaking out, scaring the chicks, and so I had to run in to try and calm him down. And in the midst of that, I stepped on a tree stump, a little tree stump, and it went through my foot. It went through my shoe, and then it went through my foot. And so I had to go to the hospital, and they gave me like 5 shots, and then they had to like take a scalpel or something and clean it out. And yeah, now I'm on antibiotics, but it was pretty intense, but it was my first farm injury.
But so, she's got a knee roller now.
Yeah, so I got a knee roller.
She's in class. You should have brought it out here. But
can I?
No, you're all right. You got to get it. She's going on the road, so the camera is following her now. I've got a new camera, and I think it knows who's pretty because it tries to follow her. Let's see what happens. Come here, camera. Come back to me. Come back to me. Crazy, can you go behind the camera and twist it to me?
Bye, guys. God bless.
It's following Gracie all over the place. Can you just twist it around there. Let's see. You can hear me? Yeah, twist it around till it can find me. There it goes. It's not found me. Get it lower. Push it lower. All right. That's good enough for right now. I guess it found me again. You know, yeah, it would rather follow a pretty lady than it would to follow me. But anyway, yeah, that's Gracie's injury. Can you believe it? She has survived, and she's just trucking along now. A big shout out to Ashley McBride. She's opening a mocktail bar in Nashville. dubbed Redemption Bar. The space will live on the 5th floor of Eric Church's Chief's Honky Tonk. Live music and all that stuff. You know, that's pretty cool. I'm not a bar dude. I don't hang out at bars. I mean, I guess I did a tiny bit when I was younger, and I do miss the country music that was at bars. But, you know, I probably still wouldn't go to a bar if it was a non-alcoholic bar in this town, in this small town where I live. And going to Nashville is like, you know, it's a scary proposition at night. Nashville is comparative to some other rough cities I've seen when it's after dark. I know I'm putting down Nashville in that sense, but I'm talking about downtown, Broadway, that area. It's freaking crazy. And I would rather not be in that atmosphere. But congrats to Ashley McBride giving folks who don't drink an option. All right, some more news. And if you watch the trailer for this podcast, I was using AI and pretending to report from the year 2055 on the king and queen of country music. And the guy that I mentioned as pretending I was in 2055 was Big X the Plug. New York Times, how Big X the Plug went from solitary confinement to Nashville's favorite rapper. He is? He's not my favorite rapper. Actually, my favorite rapper, straight up, is down in Belize. One day I'm going to tell you that story about my favorite rapper. Big X the Plug was named Billboard's 2025 Country Innovator of the Year at the Billboard Country Power Players event. He received the award from Shabuzi. Well, that makes sense. The award recognizes his unique blend of country and rap music, exemplified by his hit song All the Way. Like I say, there's always been crossover in country music, but sometimes when I hear country music radio, it's tough because even the local hometown radio station here will play some things that I listen, like, what am I hearing? It's not country music. And, you know, I'm sure Big X the Plug is a great rapper. And I will say that the latest song I heard from Shabuzi is a lot better than Tipsy, the bar song. But yeah, it's a strange world in country music. And what will it be? What will country music be in the future? Before we start talking about the future, let's talk about more about this crap on social media. Found another one here. Alan Jackson dressed in a black suit, faded cowboy boots. Faded cowboy boots? Why would he wear faded cowboy boots? I don't know. Stepped into the altar at the Grand Church where Braden Blackstock's, oh Lord, casket rested. A profound silence, ... see more. Crap, but sadly, it's liked, loved, or whatever by 543 people who have no idea what they're looking at. They have no idea that they're looking at AI, and it's shared a bunch of times. So that's crazy. I really enjoyed this fake full of crap on social media on Facebook. I saw this week from Timeless Country Tunes. A bot, or maybe one human with a lot of bots that makes all these fake pages. Brooks and Dunn, you reunite for one final ride, sending shockwaves through Nashville with a surprise secret album. Fans are stunned by the emotional lyrics and classic country ... see more. Come on. There's Brooks and Dunn holding hands with matching clothes on the beach. Give me a frickin' break. There has been some talk about Brooks and Dunn doing a new album, but I have not heard anything lately about a new album from Brooks and Dunn, or that they're an undercover in-love couple holding hands on the beach, you know. But it's got, you know, it just makes me mad. AI has gone crazy, and they take advantage of especially older people who can't tell the difference between AI and real stuff. And quite often, down in the comments, down in the links, it's a bait to get money from it. And I wish Facebook, and it doesn't happen as much on YouTube, I wish Facebook, Instagram would get off their asses and do more stuff to police that, because I promise you now, all the stuff that comes out from the Country Music Time Machine on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, it's real stuff. It's just real country music history. Corey did chime in and said, when you combine country music and rap music, you get crap music. All right. And DDR says, I have to agree with Corey. William says, I pay no attention to the AI garbage. I do because it pisses me off that people get taken advantage of. And DDR says, if they're going to do that, give them the baby faces. Yeah. Yeah, it's AI and these knuckleheads doing that. They have no respect. They have no soul. If you're going to really think about it, they're just trying to make money. And to be honest with you, they make a lot more money than the Country Music Time Machine does. All right, let's take a look at the future. I even copied and pasted the letters from the Back to the Future movie here because I thought that was cool because I love Back to the Future. What is the future? Now, this is going to come down. I'm going to drink some water for this because this is going to be coming from my head and from my heart because a lot of things to cover here. Why I did the Country Music Time Machine. For the folks who know me, my first career was in radio. 14-year-old radio DJ, small town, Conway, South Carolina, right near Myrtle Beach. That was my first job. And I worked in radio for 17 years. And I saw in the late 80s the inclusion of syndicated satellite programming that was taking away jobs as radio people. So I decided that even back then, I saw computers coming into it too, that there are going to be less and less jobs in radio. So I went back to college, got a degree in computer science, and I joined the State Department in the early 2000s. And officially will complete a almost 24-year career at the end of September. But a couple of years ago, I started missing just broadcasting and talking about country music. And I was also getting a little bit worried about the direction of country music. So I looked on YouTube to see what I could find. There were a few channels out there that had country music stuff and old country music stuff, but nothing really dedicated in a programmatic way to the history of country music. I said, well, Kevin, I'm sitting here living alone in Belize, working at the U.S. Embassy. I'm going to change that. I'm going to start a channel where I'm going to talk about almost every year of country music history. And I did that. And I started that in 2023. This was actually the first video I uploaded, May 14th, 2023, the Country Music Time Machine report of a recap of the year 1960 with one of the country legends, one of the greatest voices of all time, Marty Robbins on the cover. It started that way, and things were really slow. I mean, I would upload videos, get a few views. I was not having people knocking down my door. It's probably 6 months after that, I reached out to the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum because I knew I was going to be on home leave for a little while back in Nashville. And I said, I'd like to come and record a video at your museum because I have a channel dedicated to the history of country music. They refused me. Well, they probably refused me because I was just a little, at that time anyway, just a little channel that wasn't trucking along too much. But things did change. Things started to pick up on the channel. As you can see, here's what's happened since then. Right now, we've got 31.8 thousand subscribers. We've uploaded 733 videos so far. That's a bunch of videos. That's a bunch of stuff. We also spread out now. We're getting the message out there about country music history. Twitter, X, Facebook, Spotify, Instagram. Yes, I haven't mentioned it much. If you go to Spotify, you can get almost all the Front Porch podcast episodes and a lot of the other Country Music Time Machine episodes too. So you should check it out on Spotify if you have Spotify. Now let's take a look at the stats from Facebook. Now, these stats are shocking to me. They're shocking for two reasons. Because this is for the whole year of our statistics of the Country Music Time Machine on Facebook. Like I said, I'm being transparent here. This first slide makes me happy. The next slide makes me sad. 27.8 million views on Facebook alone. That's a bunch. And if you look at the graph there, I really didn't start uploading stuff to Facebook until like late April, early May. So as soon as I started doing it, it caught on. So right now, over the summer month, which is usually a little slower for this kind of stuff, 5 to 6 million views a month, which is cool. Total views across all the platforms so far, around 35 million views. Now you think to yourself, oh man, Kevin's raking in the money. Well, now it's time to show you the money. The money. Like that's Tom Cruise there with Jerry Maguire, show me the money. I'm showing you the money now. This is how much money the Country Music Time Machine made for, what did I say, 27 million views on Facebook, $5.54. That's sad. But somebody is making the money. Somebody is making the money. It's a little better on YouTube because YouTube, I think, in a sense, is fairer about the way they share the funds from ad revenue that shows up on these videos. So far this year, $859. So no, I'm not going to go buy me a new car and buy all those fancy things, but you know, it buys me dinner and, you know, pays the light bill or whatever. But let's keep rolling. The biggest episodes, and I want you to watch for the pattern here on this channel. The biggest episode for money, anyway, is Shocking Moments in Country Music History. So far this year, we've made $156 on that episode. And you can see other ones. There's only one episode that includes music that made money. 1956 in country music history. Please go watch that 1 million times. I'll actually be able to pay my bills. $23.27. Not a lot, but for whatever reason in 1956, the music that I had on that episode was not as copyrighted. So those record companies with those songs actually shared revenue with me, which don't get a lot, but it's a little bit. Let me bring up DDR and what he said. It says, wow, Kevin, can you figure out how to spend that windfall in all one place? Yeah, I did. I went down to the gas station and got a bottle of Mexican Coke and some peanuts. That's where I spend it. Not all in one. Well, it was all in one place. Now, here is what it costs to bring you the Country Music Time Machine. Software subscriptions, about $125 a month. Got video editing software, programming software for uploads to various social media outlets. There's different pieces of software that gets used. Even there's software used to bring you what you're watching right now. This cost to bring you the Front Porch Podcast, it costs money. Equipment purchases for the cameras, mics, all that stuff. I spent so far about $5,000. Time cost, as I say there, I have no dadgum fracking idea. Dadgum because I'm a country boy, and fracking because I don't like to say the other F word, and I am a Battlestar Galactica fan where I learned to say fracking. It didn't sound as bad, you know. Tasha says, hi, it's Tasha. Whenever I see a Miller on the line, because I'm from a family of Millers, I say hi. All right, time spent to produce each video on the Country Music Time Machine, probably altogether about 8 hours, not including the Front Porch Podcast. That's 8 extra hours probably to bring all this stuff together. So yeah, expenses are there. And as you can tell, in that sense, I haven't broken even. I've broken even with love and excitement and fun, but I haven't broken even. So why so low? It's because of copyright. The way the system works, and I think it's fair to a point. If you play a song from an artist, an established artist on a record company, it gets marked for copyright. In 99% of the music I can play, there's some music I can't play at all. They won't allow you to play it. But once it gets hit that way, if 1 5-second part of a song appears on an episode, I lose everything. I don't care if it gets 1 million views, they get all the money. So copyright is the big issue. We dealt with that in radio because every time we played a song on radio, or at least once a year, we had to take a tally of the songs we played and report it back. And it was really beans, but we paid them a little bit of money for that. But record companies make loads of money off of YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. They are raking in that dough. And here is how much they have made from this channel. On Facebook this year, all the record companies that I have played their music, from ad revenue alone, $27,981. Can you imagine that? That's a lot of money. Like I said before, I hope it's going to the right people. YouTube, it's a lot less, $15,000, but YouTube does spread out their ad revenue, I think, better than what Facebook, Instagram does. So basically, by the time this year is ended, the Country Music Time Machine has financed record companies probably close to a total of, almost $100,000. And that's shocking. And it's shocking. It's tough for me just because of where I'm at in life. Now, as I've mentioned before, my job officially ends on September 30th. I do get, after my job ends, I do get military, or not military, but U.S. government pension, retirement. Because I was married before, I have to share that with my ex. So funds are not as great as they once were. My goal for this summer, when I left from overseas at the end of March, my goal was to make as many episodes as I could and hopefully bring in enough money that the Country Music Time Machine could supplement what was going on or what I would eventually be getting from the U.S. government, which is not a whole lot. And sadly, it's not. And the big reason is not because we're not successful. We are. You guys have made us a kick-ass program. I mean, when you get 35 million views, that's pretty cool. But because of the content of what we play and how the rules are, the copyright gets the money. So that's what makes it tough. So now I have to make a decision on what to do, because I eventually have to get another job if the Country Music Time Machine can't provide a little bit more to get me where I want to be. I would rather just do this, do great episodes, more live shows, more cool stuff, start doing artist interviews. But it's tough to do when you got to feed a family, farm animals. Gracie said the other day she wants a goat now. I don't know if I can afford a goat. I don't know. But it gets tougher. So we're all going through this together. A few of us are rich and are just, not having an issue with anything. But what is the future of the Country Music Time Machine? It sort of possibly matches the future of country music. I saw this on the Country Music News on Google, I believe it was. Why is TikTok overflowing with AI country music erotica? Unhinged AI country music. No. I am not going to country music erotica. That ain't my style. I'm a good boy. I try to be. But is the future of this channel AI? It might be partly. And the part I mean, if it allows me to edit videos any better, allows me to do anything faster, that I can actually do my regular job, whatever that regular job will be, yeah, AI may take part in it, but I will never let it control it. Now, I want to show you a few clips here. I want to play a game with you. I want y'all to watch these clips, and I want you to tell me which video is real, because AI is getting so good. You don't need radio announcers anymore. You don't need TV presenters anymore. You just need AI if you want unauthentic crap. That's my 2 cents. I want you to watch these videos, and you tell me, after I play each video, if you think it's real or it's AI. Here is video number 1.
Computer algorithms today are performing incredible tasks with high accuracies at a massive scale using human-like intelligence.
All right, let me take a look at the comments. What do you guys think? Was that a real video? That was so, so obviously, as Katie says, fake, that, yeah, I do not speak with was that an Indian accent. You know, I think with a more of a Southern accent, I guess. It ain't an Indian accent. And I couldn't do that if I wanted to. I could possibly fake a Spanish accent, but not an Indian accent. More fakes coming in. All right, let's pull up another one. And by the way, that video was created with AI from a picture of me. If you see it on the screen there, the E behind me is the Euro Mall in Moscow, Russia. I think I took that picture in 2017. So it created a video from an old picture that I'd uploaded to Facebook. All right, here's video number 2. Is this real or is this fake?
If you have a toothache or maybe headache, here's a great point that you don't want to do if you're pregnant because it can cause uterine contractions, but it's right here in between the thumb and the index finger on the back of the hand. Rub that with your thumb firmly for about 20 seconds. If it's tender, that's a sign of blockage. And then try the other hand, and that can actually relieve pain in the jaw, the teeth, as well as headaches.
All right. What do y'all think? Real or fake? If you just listen to what I said there, I don't know anything about uterine contractions. No, that was like my second attempt at making an AI video, and that failed too. It wasn't my voice, and it was some dude talking about, I don't know, how to press a vein or something to relieve pain. So no, it's like Jeff says, fake and crap. William May, not real. Corey says, that's faker than a $15 bill. I'm sure AI will probably make a $15 bill now. All right, let's pull up one more, and you tell me if this video is fake. Let me take Corey off the screen first, because I don't want Corey's incredible comment to hide this video that I'm getting ready to play. Tell me if this is fake or real.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Country Music Time Machine, and welcome to a special series where we are highlighting the life of some of the biggest stars in country music history. If you love country music and the history of our great music, please subscribe to this channel and tell all your friends. This is Country Legends on the Country Music Time Machine.
All right, let me know. Do you think it's real or fake? No wrong answers. You know, Maria says, or actually, William says real deal. Maria says real. Katie says fake. So I've got 2 reals here and 1 fake. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you, it was sort of a trick question. That was a fake video too. That was me. If you would have noticed that video, I had on a lanyard, and it said U.S. Embassy Asunción, Paraguay. That's where I worked before I was in Belize. I worked at the U.S. Embassy in Paraguay. And Corey says, sounds real, but I think it's fake. The sound is real because I used a clip from last week on the Jimmy Rogers Country Legends episode. I added my voice to a picture that I made in Paraguay in probably 2019 or 20, before I got COVID. So that video was fake too. But what I did proves to you that you don't need a human. You can just take my picture and make me say anything you want me to say. I could explain, proctology exams. I could explain scientific, processes. AI can make it happen. And I hate that. I will promise you, but no matter what happens on this channel, you're going to get the real deal. So what this comes down to, and this has been tough for me to do, and me and J-Cat were talking about this, and I'm like, man, I hate to go down this road, but I want to keep the Country Music Time Machine alive and active. And there's a way you can help me do that. You can pass the word, and I'll be talking more about this. There's a way. And this is what I figured out. and I don't know if you guys heard of these people or not. There is a system out there called Patreon for YouTube channels, sort of like mine, that have a lot of, as you could say, if you play music and things like that, and you don't really make a lot of money, they go to Patreon. And Patreon it gives fans of channels another place to directly interact with the channel. Doesn't mean YouTube's going away. Not all. It's just a special part of it. And that's what Patreon is. And I'll just read it exactly from the screen from the website that I actually set up today. Patreon is where you can directly support the future of the country music time machine. Your support helps keep me digging through the archives to bring you the forgotten stories, deep cuts, and legendary moments that made country music what it is today. By becoming a patron, you're not just supporting CMTM, you are helping preserve the history of country music, of this incredible genre. Every little bit helps. So thank you for considering being a part of this. And I'm going to tell you more about it here. And the link is down below. It's Patreon/Country Music Time Machine. If someone could type that in, because I really can't, the way my rocking chair, microphone, and mouse, somebody please type in that link in the comments. So if anybody does want to follow it. And here's what happens. If you follow it, and you'll see on the site, I've got a special session set up for it's like a VIP thing for viewers of the Country Music Time Machine. And to do that, you do have to buy a membership. As you can see it on the screen, I was looking DDR's thing on the screen. But it's not, I don't think it's not a lot of money. It's a little bit of money. But it might, I don't know, this is a test. It might keep Country Music Time Machine alive and me be able to continue with the same way I've done in the last 3 to 4 months, with a lot of great data and a lot of great country music and a lot of great history, pushing all this stuff to you. So what I created was a CMTM crew members, the first crew, like a VIP section. You can join it for $5 a month, and you get a lot of cool things with it. Of course, Patreon will get their cut, but I'll get a tiny bit. It might be enough to buy Coke and peanuts, but you can be the first crew to support Country Music Time Machine. You'll get behind-the-scenes content, live chat with me, early access to episodes, and live streams. And I think the most important thing about this is not just the early episode. Well, maybe I'm taking advantage of you guys too, but the greatest thing about it is it allows me to give you guys to give me direct input. So if we go on that platform and you become a crew member, what will happen is we'll bring up a video. I'll send you a link, and it'll just be us. It's not going to be broadcast on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or nothing like that. It's just us sitting down talking about country music. But the key to it is it gets me closer to you. It helps out the time machine a little bit by helping me pay for this stuff. And it also, I think it will make better content, because there's so many times I've been working on episodes and I just didn't have all the good data. I can't bother Joshua John, Nicole Jewell, and DDRR and JCat all the time about stuff. It would be great for once a month, we get together and the crew members just talk about what's happening in country music, the past of country music. Like I was thinking today, I want to do a special episode on the greatest voices in country music, not just the greatest selling singers, but pure vocal ability, male and female. And I'm like, I know a lot of them, but my brain is not that big to remember all of them. So think about it. Pass the word. You become a crew member, you'll get one-on-one with me, more of a laid-back situation, really. I think this is pretty laid-back too, but it'll be even more laid-back. You'll probably see the chickens running in the back and Gracie hobbling on her knee walker, whatever you call it. You'll see Mama, rolling around in her walker. So, yeah, think about it. Jeff's guitar says, at $5, you're not being greedy. And I'm not trying to be, because I hate to ask for money. I just love doing this. And $5 is not a lot. I hate to ask for money. Maybe because I used to work in radio and I had preachers come in to do their preaching things, and they would always beg for money, and while they were driving brand new Cadillacs and their church members were poor. So I've always had an issue with that. I've never been a good salesman as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, think about it. It is patreon.com/country music time machine. If you go on patreon.com, patreon.com, and you're checking out, you probably type in their search and see country music time machine. It's going to pop up. But think about it. I'm going to see how it goes. I will tell you this. If I can't get enough extra money now that I'm going to be not getting a full salary, I will have to find another job. The country music time machine won't end. But it will probably be more sporadic because I'll have to focus on feeding the family more and getting income coming in. So I'm still looking. I'm still considering everything. And I appreciate you guys just listening to me and me explaining this, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it recorded. That's what it's about. Patreon.com/country music time machine. You can directly support this channel. You can help it grow. You can help us continue with this story of country music history. And I think it's important, especially because so many radio stations and record companies have forgotten about the history of country music. And some of the crap we're getting right now is not country music. So thank you for, let me tell you that. But folks, let me turn off this, take this off the thing and bring me back up here. Yeah, I'm back here in the chair now. The camera sort of got wonky. So I'm just, as you can see, the whole rocking chair, and because the camera went crazy, you see a light in the background too. Those lights cost money too. But anyway, thank you all so much for tuning in today and listening to me and explaining the story about the future of country music and the possible future of the country music time machine. Thank you for supporting me in whatever way you do. I love you no matter what, whether you join us on Patreon or whether you don't. I love you, and God bless you. And as my shirt here says, can you see it? Let me get out of the way. CMTM, keep it country. That's what we're doing right here. So let's keep it country right here on the Country Music Time Machine. Love you.
There's a crackle on the radio, a story to be told about banjos on the hillside and voices paved in gold. Got a cold glass bottle, drop some peanuts in the coat, and I'm sitting on the front porch hanging on every note. The Front Porch Podcast, singing times gone by, with fiddle strings and heartache and the reasons why. We keep this music living, never let it fade so fast. Raise a toast to the legends on the Front Porch Podcast.